דבר?
אלון.
בסדר.
יאללה, קרא שם לאלון תקרא להם שבו, אנחנו מתחילים. בוא רואים. Okay, good morning. Good morning, everyone. Today we have a little bit longer session and a few updates. First, we have an NG course this week, ending Sunday. About 7 front-end developers are there. Shachar is giving most of it. And another big thing that is happening is which styles that Alon and Yigal have finished like 2 weeks working and preparing the framework. Alon will demonstrate the work and explain what's been done. And in a week, not next week, but the week after, we're doing like an offsite with 10 developers. I've already talked with company managers. Some of you know, some of you, I will send you an update, and we will work together, probably here or some other place, for a whole week, and do the complete weak styles library. So the weak styles, you can think about it like, I won't steal Alon's lecture, but generally, it's like a Bootstrap CSS, but for Wix. Any part of our site that is aimed for Wix users will eventually use these styles. So we'll have first a unified style across all our website and our applications. And also we will save a lot of time of UX that will not need to invent all the time all the widgets, and developers will use the same code, less bugs. So this is a huge, a very important improvement. Another thing that I need your help with is we're preparing a training kit. The training kit is like a documentation of technical knowledge that we want to give to new developers that join the company. So currently every company or every team probably has some side notes. Read this, read that. Some probably don't have. And we want to make it more ordered, more documented, and keep track on it, improve it. So generally, the academy is leading the process, Tomer Gabel, and the server guild already did this process, and they documented, and they have the training kit for new server developers, and now it's our turn. And the process is generally, I think Sergey, Shachar, and who else said, decided all a list of knowledge subjects that need to be learned. And then on Thursday, on guild days, we need like 5 of you, 5 volunteers that on guild days will search the internet for good material to explain the subject. For example, like Angular, so we need to, someone will take the subject, we'll put links to relevant or good places to learn Angular, and maybe even like a final, like an exercise that will summarize it. It's supposed to be like something short, and this will cover many subjects like tools, like Grunt, like how to use with Chrome tools, stuff that we think that every developer has to prepare, and we want to just, a new developer comes, we show him the list, some things he knows, so we skip them, and then he's left with the things he's not familiar and start learning it, and that's it. So I need 5 of you, more or less, that we will start it next week. The academy with Tomer. Who wants to join the list? Wait, 1, 2. Okay, so you have enough. Send me an email after, and great. I think that's it. Alon will now display the Wix styles, what we have, the framework. Yes. And then just a second, and then Nadav will give us a talk about Git, then a workshop will follow. It's streaming.
Yes, okay, so I'm Alon from the Macam team. I've been working with
Igal about the Wixstar, and I'm going to present you a short overview. It includes, and I will show you a bit of the design so you get to know what's going on. I'll show you the documentation, that means how the developers will use it. And I'm going to show you a code snippet of how to write into this documentation. So about the designs, it's just really an overview. You don't really, I mean, you can't understand anything, but you get a nice overview about this, like a sidebar that you can use to pop up. These are some of the assets that we're going to develop. I just want to give you like a short overview of how these things look. Like there's a lot of buttons that we need to use. So this is basically the design. I don't want to speak a lot about it. And I want to show you the system itself. This is the Wixstar, and it contains mixing colors, buttons, components. For example, we can go to the color section and you see we have brand colors. And here, these are the variables that you can use. And this is like smaller. And these are a demonstration of this color. This is the Wix blue color, and this is the yellow and some other colors. Here we can see the main colors that you can use. Here's the way to use it. Font sizes you can use, and here are examples. This documentation is supposed to be very helpful. For example, if I want, right now I want to show you by this. For example, I'll show you something else like buttons. How to use a button. So you can see that there is you can use a button as a button or a link, and you can use these modifiers, button, button, hover, and active. And here you can see an examples of each one of them. And you can see it's supposed to be very easy for people to come and understand. Oh, I can just write button, add a class name button, and or button premium, button danger, and I get these examples. It's also worked with directives. Here there is a drop-down directive, and you can see a live example of it. There's also nice features there. For example, okay, I don't know anything about this place. I don't know where is the fonts. I can just type font, and I get, oh, these are all the fonts I'm looking for. Or if I want something to do with colors, or if I want to find a drop-down. It's a very nice documentation system that we're using. Do you have questions about it?
Where is this going to be used? Like the Micron?
Oh, it's going to use in all of the back offices component, which basically everyone here can use it.
For internal use, or let's say
for our products.
At first stage, it's for internal use inside Wix. The idea is that Wix should have a unique style, right? Wix should have like we call it like the DNA of our design. So of course, like the editor should have it's very similar to this. It's almost the same, but they're using React, so we need to develop one in Angular. And we also have many widgets that the editor does not use, like site navigation. But eventually, we can open source this and give it to application developers to write their back office also with this to speed up and have the same look and feel.
So it's intended for, let's say, Micron or Store Manager?
Yeah, exactly. Store Manager. Almost every developer here probably has wants to develop.
It's not really internal.
What do you mean internal?
Like the BI system.
It's for internal use. It's
it's
less critical to have a Wix look and feel, but I think it will speed up also their development, and they have something that looks good. And
it's also for production, for like the office.
Yeah, production.
For example, it doesn't fit like the website. Anything that the user of user sees doesn't have to. It's not Wix, so it doesn't look like this. Just along. One of the major things that we wanted is to have also an online catalog. So this is like a tool that generates this automatically. Okay, we didn't just want to have like a development Bower library. That this tool can be used also by the UX guys to see what we have, and then the UX says, "I want this button." And the developer can come to the documentation, see how to take the code.
So yes, actually, it's a Bower behind the scene.
Yeah, it's a Bower. Now, what's really cool about this documentation is that you don't need to write a lot of code to create this section that explains this, and I want show you a short demo of how you can use it. Yeah, I wanna
just one point that I want to. So this is on us. Our UX departments for different companies really needs to be aware of this, so they won't give you a new mockup or a new type of drop down again and again and again. So once they have this beautiful PDF for component view, they know how to use those component nodes at the different type of select box or drop down.
Now I want to explain how this document is being generated. So you can see on the left side, this is the code that you need to write. You write it as a comment, and the system that we use generates the jobs on the right. So I just want to go through all what it means here. So okay, it's very simple. The title, you just write the title, and you see the title on your right. You define a style guide hierarchy, and you see that there is 3.2.1. That means like the third column under the second section. And this is the subtitle. It's less interesting. And now this is where it becomes more interesting. You define a markup that I wrote on the left and it appears on the right. And you define inside the markup a modifier, as you can see there. I think it's 0. And what this modifier means is that each one of these 4, you can use them instead of the modifier. So you can use a button or button disabled and you get some sort of design. And this is all the code you need to write. You don't need to write more than that to do this document on the right. And the question is, what is this thing? And this is some sort of live example that the system generates. And how it does that, it takes the modifier, it puts it inside the markup modifier there, and it generates the live example here. So this is like a button with a button class. And you also can see it on the right that this is the modifier. You get like, okay, this is how it works. And then you get an example of each one of them. This is the button hover, this is the button active. And it's really that simple. And I think it's very easy to develop with it and to use it. And this picture of kittens, I don't know. I thought it would make you happy. And I think that's it. You want to discuss other things?
No, just to say that also one of the, what's Alon and Eagle did is tested this on 4 components and saw that it works. We also defined coding conventions, the naming and everything, what to use. So in 2 weeks, in a week and a half, when the offsite developers join, we know how to, we can do multiply and do it simultaneously, many widgets together because we already did it. Four or 5 components that demo most of the things that we needed, like a button, a simple CSS, and an Angular component. So now we can duplicate the work and all the components that the UX had.
Ron, did you want to ask something?
Yeah, I have 2 questions. First one is that when I use the Wix tag, when I release my do I get a complete CSS where 90% of it I don't have the use?
Okay, question now, if you can import
Why? Explain that we will enable like.
Oh, you will enable you to import only small parts. You can import a small part or a big part or everything. Or define if you want the CSS or you don't want the CSS. That was the question?
Yeah, if I want to take this entire library and use only the buttons.
Yeah, you can do that.
I don't use the drop-down CSS or anything.
Yeah, you can say I want only the buttons. Like import Wix buttons.
Okay, so I need to know that's in advance or
Yes.
like
No, I think no. You say I want to. You import the buttons, and if you want more than that, you say import drop down, and then you can decide. No, I don't want this or that. I will import everything. I'm not sure I understand.
In the build process, you say which you say which parts of the CS of the whole framework you want to include into your CS.
Yeah, you can say whatever you want. Like it's not like the current Wix style that you get everything.
so my maybe easier to import everything, and when I do like run to build, to clean anything else that I'm not using out of it.
Oh, this is.
So do it like input.
Yeah. Okay.
When I develop, I have all the tools there, but when I do the release itself, I clean whatever I want to.
No, but you can import everything. Okay, when you think about it, it means that if we don't use most of the CSS, we can clean it out. But this is a special grant task. It doesn't relate to this style. I mean, every project should have this sort of a task that we don't use currently, I think.
Let's
So
go on.
clean.
Let's continue. Let's discuss
Okay,
it.
and I have a second question. For me, I use like starting pages. Can I take only the fonts in there?
Well, we need to check. It's like things we haven't decided yet how to use it.
There's something similar planned for the PPAs, not for the back officers, but the consumer facing ones.
Is it? I don't think
There's
so.
something planned.
For the consumer facing, there's no, the style is not.
Apparently there is. Going to the studio, they asked us to change a lot of things because we do not align with the way they want the physical sites to look like. Just to give you an example, you have inputs which are round and the back office, they wanted to be square in the physical site. And also there is an inheritance of the colors from the palette of the editor, and it should be common to the Wix.
Okay. So currently, this we don't cover this with this project, but let's consider it. We see that there is a common style for the front part. And then,
There is actually isn't. But the problem is that I don't know. You probably work with designers enough to know that if you talk to one, it gives you the design that should be made, and that's the only way it should be made. And he will not approve the design unless everything is perfect according to what he just told. But then you talk to another one, and they will say completely the opposite. And
we don't have this. Once we have this framework, you cannot give. If he wants to use a different drop down, he needs to get an approval and to say why he needs to customize the existing.
And another thing, this also gives you power in front of the designer to tell them, no, I have this design and I cannot do anything besides that.
Why wants the simplest thing for the visitor? Because I mean, the user wants consistency during its whole site. He wants every page to have like a square button and not have one page with a round button and one with a square button. Like have a consistency between the TPAs. Yeah, so maybe.
But I don't get it. In his site, you can change the buttons that are not part of your application. You can make them square. Right.
Yeah, but we are not aligned to the style of the site. We're aligned to, at least right now, we cannot inherit the round corner.
Anyway, we're not covering this. Okay, let's discuss it in a different. It has to.
Let's say that tomorrow week is the new agenda, and they want to change the colors.
Yeah, we should have brought this down. Yeah, we shouldn't have this section. We discussed it, that it should not be documented and no one can see it. And you can only use, wait for these colors, color primary or color premium.
But let's say that you want to change it. And, if you change it, everybody will have take the change.
Yes. Yes.
So you will affect the open source.
The,
If all the users are using this library as an open source, you will also affect them.
oh, it's not open source.
Yeah, we're not open sourcing it, next week. But yes, it's like if we decide to change color, it's like material design. You decide you go to version 2.0 and you do the big change at 2.0. And if someone wants the new Google material design or the Wix material design, it switches to 2.0. Small things you get automatically, but if it's a major change, like you change everything, it will be a major release and you're not getting it.
Understand that this is mostly CSS, but you also have components like the dropdown that are directives and things like that, right?
Yes.
What components are planned for the workshop next week? I mean, it's going to be a bit more than just the dropdown.
No, the dropdown is almost ready. They will be, we're waiting for the resources from the UX. This week they will give it to us. But all the resources that you saw that in the beginning, Alon gave a demo of, just screenshots.
Yeah, just
We hope to have everything defined.
Here, you can see here very small.
Most of it is already defined because they defined it for the editor. So we will have most of these defined in our NG board as issues, and then the developers can just take issues and work with it.
How about tables?
I'm not sure if we have tables. Yeah, tables is the past.
No, for tabular data, not for layout. When you want to show tabular data, not layout, not use tables for layout. When you want
I don't think there is a design for it. You can ask the designer.
Music player has one.
I still don't have the exact list. Let's see what they have, what they know to give us. Probably the things we'll have first are similar to the editor because they have it ready. And once most of it is in, we will always have like small tasks to add things. For example, a company, you want to have a table, so you take it, you implement it into the library, and then everyone uses it. So every time a company needs a new widget, a new component, and we decide that's the way we want to have it, or it's just another option for us to choose, then we'll add it to this library. If you think it's a total custom thing, the company will develop it on their CSS.
It doesn't that they can just decide. The table could be aligned with the guideline.
No, the UX will give the guidelines. Everything that goes in here is the product for this is like the UX. They define the requirements and exactly how it should be. Okay.
See, everything here is inside container. So if you want to implement a wizard, it's already inside the container. You should probably add containers.
Yeah, we have. I think it's not for this phase, but to add layout components, like how.
You already have implemented something with these components. So just give the document the class which is needed in order to make a div look like a container. Whatever you put inside.
Yeah, once we will have that sort of requirement from the studio, we will add these sort of things. This is more like a layout component, which is an advanced feature.
If I use the wizard, will it put the container?
I think they put containers so it would look nice on the. I'm not sure we need to really pay attention to the containers right now.
Also, Carmel, I asked time to have one of you guys in the offsite in a week. So if you guys will decide who's the best fit, if you have a lot of input, you think, then you're welcome either to tell it to the guy who will be here. One of you, I think, now asked a meet. But, yeah. So.
Anything else? So let's start.
Okay. Thank you.
Beleza.
תגיע, אוזניה. עכשיו אומרים שיש שתי שרים. עכשיו אומרים שם על דבר ולא חיתנו לאף אחד. שתי שרים.
כן, שזה אנשים שחיתנו את הגדר, עצור הגדר.
זה גם משהו, כן. כל כזה שתיים, זה לוקח לכם. מה?
למה? אפשר להגיד שמישהו שפוי אז.
לא, יש לי
שלא שפוי בכל מיני. כדי שלא יסופו לבד, שהילדים לא יבואו מים,
לא תדע לתקשר, אבל זה עודד לי. יש מצב שזה לא...
So hi everyone. Yeah, please close your computers now. If you haven't forked yet, we'll fork later. Okay, everyone close your computers. I'm Nadav Wexler. I work in servers framework team. Some of you might know, but I don't know. And today we're going to speak about Git. I assume every one of you have used it. We'll try to be a little more into Git. I'd like to have questions for you during the presentation, so feel free to ask. So, some disclaimers I just want to say. No original research here. Everything is from the Git book, which you can go to this address and see and read for yourself. Yes.
Tweets me as well.
Oh. So really just read. Everything is from there. The second thing is, assuming you all been using Git for your work for the last time, from the time you've been working for weeks, I'll assume you know what Git commit, Git clone, Git add. That's basically it. Okay, so if you don't, so find, like later in the workshop, please find a partner and work with him. So shouldn't be a problem. So what we're going to speak today, we're going to see a bit of how Git internals work, the Git objects. Later we're going to review some of Git's more advanced commands that allows you to play with your commits. And later on we'll have a workshop that will touch those issues. So we have this Git, which is a version control system. I don't know if you ever used any other version control. I've used SVN. So I really love Git. It's a great system. I think there's no other project that uses it here in Wix. I mean, everyone uses it. The idea is that it is very fast because the whole repository is stored in your computer, as opposed to like SVM, which the repository is stored in the servers and you only get like a copy of it. No, Git takes the whole repository in your computer and also saves one in the server. So each user is like the same thing as all other users. They all share the same repository. And it is snapshot-based, which means that each time each commit has the whole data of this current, like say, work. I mean, it doesn't work on diffs, which is like this again. It works on snapshots. That means that each file looks exactly like it's supposed to look at that specific time in the commit. Okay? We'll see later how this happens. So actually, Git is a version control system built on top of a key value store. What does that mean? Git essentially is just a way for, it's just a store that has hashes which map to objects. The hashes are SHA-1, okay? And you have objects, we'll see later the objects that are being used. They have a small header, you compress everything, you hash it, and this is just the way to map from your hash to your objects, okay? And we have 3 objects for this. We have the blob, which is your data. Say you have a new file, you wrote some data there. Only this data with this small header and compressed, only this is being SHA, and no file and no time, just the data in your file. That's it. That's the blob. Okay? The second one is the tree, which is your directory. The directory is just a list of hashes and their names, like you think of a directory. Okay, you have a directory, it has names, it has the contents. So this is just the same thing. So we have hashes, and each hash is associated with a name. Okay? And the last object we're going to talk about is the commit. The commit is just a reference to a tree, okay, which is itself a reference to other trees and objects. The commit also references the parent commits. Okay, we have a commit, and it references the tree and also the previous commit. And we'll see in a second how it works. So this is an example. Let's say I started out with this file, which is the contents version 1, and I've committed it into Git. So this is how my Git looks. I have this first commit. It references the tree, this specific tree that has a reference with the name test.txt to another hash, another blob object which has the hash A3BAA. Okay? So this is like a first commit, and those references one to each other. Okay. Then I've made a change to the file, and I've committed again. So now I have those 2 commits, those two files, sorry. And the second commit references the first commit, because this is its parent. And it also references a new tree that has 2 different files, test.txt, which goes to another blob, and the new text that goes to yet another blob. Okay? And to sum this up, we have a third commit, which you see that I took the last, I suddenly remember, hey, I want this old txt to be in my back directory. So you can see that Git does the right thing, and it doesn't create a new file. It just goes and see, oh, back is the same tree as it was here, because it's the same file and the same name. So it does not need to create a new file, a new object. It's just there. So it just references this tree back here. Okay?
What happens on rename?
Sorry?
On rename. When you
rename is just taking a tree, changing the name by referencing the same object. You don't have to create the object from scratch because it's just there. You just say you have. This is why, in a way, it is quite efficient, because the same file will always be on the same. Will always reference the same block. If the content is the same, it will always, when you hash it, it will always go to the same key. Because, I mean, hashes don't change in time. I mean, they're constant. They're only dependent on the data. So, any question on this? Yes?
What are you doing in the third commit?
In the third commit, I just remembered, oh, I want this test.txt, but I wanted the directory back. So I recreated it and committed. And you can see that now I need a new tree, because the names are different now. I have new txt, test.txt, and buck, which is a new directory. But buck is just the same tree as it was in the first commit.
So you actually created a new by native test.txt.
Yes. But Git,
Because of the SHA,
yeah.
realized you already had it.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't really have to realize it because once it shows, it just sees that it's the same hash and it says, oh, I have this hash. So, I mean, it's like a no-op. I mean, it just happens to be the same thing. Any other thing? Okay. So this is just a bit of Git objects. There's just a few more, but we won't cover them here. And you see that it's just Git is just, you know, there's this thing of references. Everything references other stuff, and everything works with those hashes. So we have some more references. We see this branch. So what's a branch? A branch is just a reference to a commit. That's it. When you have this, it seems like a huge thing, but branch is just a reference. That's it. If you go, you can actually see that it's just a name of a hash. It's just the hash itself. And the head is just a pointer to the current branch. Okay, so we have this head, which again sounds like a really mysterious thing. If you know it, if not, it's okay. But if you've seen it, you know that it's a head, and the head is just a reference, it's just the name of the current branch. That's it. Okay, so I don't know how many of you've seen this origin. We always see origin master. We say, oh, what's origin? So origin is actually just a default name of what's called the remote repository. It's just a way for you to say, okay, I'm here, and what's the other side? What's the server? You can actually add more remotes, and if you ever forked another project, you should use it also. And we'll go through this in the later in the workshop. So when you see origin, don't be afraid. It's just another name, which is just a default name for things in it. Nothing special about it. Okay, so usually when I play around with when I write code and I don't want to lose anything, so I always commit. Okay, I commit, but then I want to like make some changes to the commits. And you should remember always that committing is the best way to save your data. Once you commit, it will save your commits for your objects and your commits for something like 90 days. It's really, really difficult to remove objects from Git once you've committed it in your local repository. So whatever you do, if you change things or you move things around, I always recommend commit everything and continue work from there. Like when you pull stuff or change things or you want to rename stuff, I don't know, commit and then continue working. Because commit does not cost you anything, it takes a second and no one will see your changes, so it's free, so use it. So after we've committed, commit, again, not commit and push, just commit. Commit to your local repository. So I'd like to speak a bit about the index, the working directory, and the head. I know I know for myself that I never really paid attention to the way Git works, but if you think about it, if you did some changes and you did Git status. Did you ever did it? Did you see what happens? No. So you can see that most of the time you have like those red changes, and then sometimes I work with IntelliJ. I guess it's in other tools as well. You can see that sometimes they turn into green ones, and then when you commit, everything disappears. So actually, Git works in, again, a different way than SVN, which SVN has like this, what you do and didn't commit is the staging area, and then you commit and everything works. So Git doesn't work like this. The working directory is just the changes if they are. The staging area is the index. To add things to the index, to the staging area, which is what is going to be committed, you do a git add. I know many, I am doing it, I guess many of you also do it, they just git commit -a, which says just, okay, take everything I've done, just push them into the index and then commit them. But actually you can do it in steps. You can git add and then git commit, which I think, I mean, there's pros and cons for each user, because sometimes you just want everything. But it's important to understand that the index is something that is real. The static area can be used and it is useful in times, okay? So, any questions on this? Okay, so I'd like to speak about git reset a bit. Git reset is a way for you to change your commits, to change the way the commits you've done will be shown later. So, and it's a way also to revert the changes you've done and you don't want them to be published. So let's see, we have this Git repository, for example. We've done 3 commits, and we have this working directory, the index, and the head, which is the current committed version. We'll start with a soft reset. When you run this, it tells Git to go to reset to soft reset yourself to the parent of your current commit. So the only thing it does is you just move the head, which to move the master branch, 1 commit back. As we said, it just goes and references instead of this current commit, just 1 back. And that's it. And here it stops. Okay? So this allows you, for example, to see what the changes in your last commit. Just to see them in the index. When you git a C, you will see everything changed in green. Okay? The second one is the mix, which is the default, which does 2 things. It changes the head, and also it changes the index back. So everything you've done is saved in your working directory. This does not change, but the index is removed. The staging area is now empty. Okay? You see that the changes have not been staged. And the third one, which I think is kind of when you really don't want anything you've done, you git reset hard, which does all the way. It goes back here, and it takes your changes and just remove them completely. Okay? So I know many of you are really afraid of git reset -1 hard because, oh my gosh, where are my changes? But don't worry, as I said, if you committed, you can always go back to this commit. So you can try it out, and you'll be fine if you committed before. Yes?
What's the difference between working directory and index?
Okay, so the working, that's what I was trying to say before, but I'll reiterate. The working directory is what you have now. I mean, what you're working, like, if you do, like, change that, you'll see it. The index is not the same thing as the working directory. It's like, if you're going to commit now, what will this commit look like? Push. No, not push, commit. Not push.
Push, it will take the index.
No. If you push, it will always take the committed stuff, not the staging area. Okay, so this is really important. The staging is not the same, like, say for example, I've changed your file, I've added it to the index, and then I did another change. If I commit now, I won't get the later commit, the later changes. I will only get the changes in the index.
Even if the same changes. For instance, you took a file, you change it, you stage it, you did another change in the same file. Which changes will be committed?
Only the staging. Only what the things you did.
But some of the so both changes will be committed.
No, just the first one. Let's say I've opened a new file. No. I took a file. I added the word hey inside.
Yeah.
Now I git add. which added this file into this met staging. And then I opened it again, and I changed the hi to hello. Okay, and I say it again. Now I hit commit. When I look at this commit, only the first change, only the hey will be visible. The hello is still in the working directory. It has nothing to do with it. It does not know that you should do anything with it.
Even if it's on the same file.
Yeah, it's the same. You can see that if you do it, you'll get, if you git status text, you'll see that the first changes are the same file is written twice, once in green and once in red. Okay. Okay, so this is a reset, but now we have this file. I mean, many times we go to this file and we change something, and then we want, oh, I don't want this change. I made a mistake. So I like to think of it a bit like copying from place to place. It's not the best thing to think about. It's not the best metaphor, but bear with me here and we'll see how it goes. So when we add, we're kind of copying the file from our working directory into the index. Okay, so we're like, okay, we'll just take these changes and move them and copy them into the working directory. When we git commit, we do the same thing, like from the index into the head. Okay? When we git reset, we do the other way around. We go, when we git reset a file, we go from the head and we copy it into the index. Okay, so we go back one. And when you want to really change, you really destroy your work, you don't want this change anymore, you can git checkout, which takes the index and copies into the working directory. Okay, so if you think about it, it's just like pairs. Yeah, it's like you go once you add, you commit, you get reset and then check out. Okay, so this goes like up and then down from the head back to the index and back to the working directory and the other way around. Okay. Okay, so we add, we commit, we reset, we check out. If we do this, we'll get the same, like we did nothing. Okay, we change the file, we edit, we commit, we reset, we check out, we've done nothing. Okay? So this is a nice thing to remember when you did a change, you don't like it, you do all this and you get back to where you would be. And again, I say again, always copy, it's really important. And the last thing we have to help you with playing with your commits, which I personally really like. I don't know how many of you know this rebase -i, which is the interactive rebase. I think it's really nice to use. The thing rebase, the interactive rebase allows you to do is, let's say I've done several commits, and now I say, okay, oops is not a real name for a commit. I don't want to have those commits in my, like, pushed into the general public to see. So I want to rebase. I want to say, this is not oops, this is a change in, I don't know, whatever. And I do this mainly on my feature branches, or when I just, you know, when I told you I always commit, so I want, sometimes I have like 10 commits and they're not supposed to be 10, they're supposed to be like 2. Or I started working on some feature, then all of a sudden I started another feature from it, so I want to change the order of things so people can use my previous changes already. So git rebase -i allows you to play with your commits, move them around, change the order, change the comments. This is really helpful. I really recommend trying it. So let's see what, in a way, it allows you to do. It allows you to just take the commit as is, no changes. It allows you to reword. Let's say I really have like this, I made a typo, really embarrassing. I can reword, I can rewrite the commit message. I can edit the commit, which was just stop and let me edit the commits. Like in a stream of commits, I can just edit one in the middle. I can squash the commit, which means I take 2 commits and make them into 1. Okay? I can fix up my commit, which does basically the same thing in squash, but does not allow me to change the commit message. and I can exec, which I've never used. If you ever use it, please tell me, which allows me to run a command while doing this remix. I've never used it, I will, but just know that it exists. So, any questions?
Regarding the squash and the mix-up.
Yes.
If I have a 10 commits and I want just to push with one place,
So you give.
is it the fix-up that I can use, or I want to rename the commit? Okay? Like I did several changes, the steps on the progress. I just want to send the file and okay, this is what I done.
Okay. So you can use either squash or fix-up. I like fix-up more because you have this list of 10 commits, and you just go over and you say, okay, the first one has a good name, all the other one are typo, oops, blah, blah, like this. You just go and like if you use it from the command line, you have this nice editor. If you use it from a tool, I guess they have the same thing, just with clicks, like IntelliJ has. And you just fix up everything. You pick the first commit, which has the nice comment, and the other one is just fix up. If you do the same thing with squash, you just have another step which will allow you to change the comment. But that's the only difference. So it doesn't really matter. I like to have fix up because it's just faster. But I mean, if you have pick and let's say you have 2 commits and you use pick and squash. This is the same thing as doing a reward and fix up. So, I mean, it doesn't really matter. I mean, I like fix. Any other questions regarding this? Okay, so now we're going to have a workshop. We'll cover we'll cover the reset and some PR opening and managing conflicts. Please fork before anything you do, okay? If you haven't forked already, please fork now. And that's it. If you have any questions, I'll be working among you and feel free to ask me. Great.
Right. Bye-bye.